matter how much your brain has been indoctrinated towards female independence and strength, your mind and heart knows the truth. Hello, and welcome to the 12 Days of Tradmus. If you're new around here, my name is Kit, and Tradmus is a series I do in December where I talk about the harmful beliefs and ideas promoted by certain influencers, content creators, and so on. Basically, my normal content, but more of it and with a festive flair. And today, well, someone sent this website to me. As always, suggestion form is linked below, and I casually clicked on one of the posts and here we are. So there is a website that I probably can't name without getting this video restricted, assuming it hasn't been already, but let's just say it's about what the name says. My initial impression was that it was another biblical gender role site, but I really can't say which is worse. So anyway, instead of just suffering in silence, I'm sharing this with you all so we can bond or something. So when I looked at the website, the latest entry was a poll and, well, cursed my curiosity. Oh, and I want to be clear, we are not talking about BDSM or anything like that here. I am aware that that kink exists, but this is not that. If it was, we wouldn't be talking about it. So, onto the post. Readers poll. Alternatives to spanking. Here is another poll for our readers about discipline in your marriage. I'd enjoy hearing your answers in the comments section. What alternatives to spanking are used in your marriage? That includes methods which are used together with spanking, not just in the place of it. A. Writing lines/writing essays. B. Corner time. I like to say that we are talking about adults here, by the way. C. Mouth soaping. D. Kneeling on rice. E. Stress positions. F. Extra chores. G. Grounding. H. Confiscate items, phone, money card, car keys. I. Withhold privileges, movies, outings, sweets. J. Capsaicin cream. I'm probably not saying that correctly. K. Other. Please describe. So my first thought, these folks have way too much time on their hands. Also, what are stress positions? What are you doing with the capsaicin cream that makes it a punishment? And why would you want to inflict pain on someone you're supposed to love? Why would you even spend time thinking about it? Also, why are you treating this person like a child when you're, I assume, having an adult relationship with them? This did get some responses, and I'm just... L. None. I'm strongly of the opinion none of these alternatives are useful or appropriate. You don't say. All create a very weird dynamic. With the exception of taking away cards, one may have to do this out of pure necessity. I have threatened this before, but never had to do so. In the rare circumstance where firm words don't put my wife back on track, her finding herself over my knee for a thorough whipping certainly does. If solid leadership and the occasional whipping doesn't keep your woman in line, I humbly submit that you may need to do some examination to find out why. So, to be clear, everything else creates a weird dynamic, but bending your wife over your knee for a, in their words, whipping does not. For me and my husband, we will use writing lines and corner time alongside a spanking. I always get corner time before I am spanked so that I may pray for the strength to take my punishment and to repent before the Lord for my behavior. Occasionally I will write lines, usually scripture for whatever rule I have broken. For example, I have been spanked a couple of times for engaging in the sin of gossip. I not only got spanked, but I had to write Proverbs 16:28 100 times. Although I try to stop myself, I do sometimes fall into the trap of wanting material and worldly possessions even when they are not necessary. My husband will spank that desire out of me, and I have to write scripture lines again. Hebrews and Timothy are very good reminders to me. So, what happens when the husband gossips or wants material or worldly possessions? Does he just repent to God, or does their pastor, assuming they have one, spank those desires right out of him? Ladies. K. Several other things. 1. His favorite method is hand spanking because he is tall and strong with long arms. His hand spankings really hurt. To enhance the sting, he has me stripped naked and he leads me to our bathroom for a warm shower for 5 minutes directly over my behind, then takes me by my arm to our bed and over his knee. The extra softening makes the pain worse. He starts spanking fast and hard. 2. Instead of writing anything, he makes me say exact sentences after him like, my butt is red because this was my fault, or I knew better than that and I need my husband to spank me, or next time I won't be snotty or else my butt will be on fire again. Not fun to say, especially when right after I say the exact sentence, I get a really loud, hard stinging spank, plus it's very humbling to have to say while bent over his knee. 3. Extra chores like deep cleaning the foyer floor or reorganizing the office cabinet since you won't be sitting tomorrow. The extra activity is to be done by the next day, or else another spanking. Has never happened, always get it done. 4. He doesn't usually video spankings, but he got our camera and recorded a few really hard swats with me crying out so he can make me play it back as a warning at any given time. Bottom sore for a day or two with a few smaller bruises. Far more painful than visible. I asked him if he spanks with full strength and he said, "Of course not, I'm not trying to hurt you. Ha ha, I love and respect him so much." I don't even know what to say to that. K. Pretty much when I've done something wrong, my husband just gets angry and distant until he gets over it. I still hope at some point that this will be different, but for now, nothing apart from snapping at me and then silence. To which the owner of the site responded, "Sure, anger and distance are not the way to go in responding to a wrong. Unfortunately, that's what many couples suffer through. Loving leadership and discipline makes sure there is a better option and a wrong gets put in the past quickly. No need to respond with anger. I hope that does change for you." You know, everyone here is, or should be, adults. Why can't they just use their words instead of sulking like a child or laying hands on their spouse? Also, what on earth are these women, spanking the husband, you might notice is not an option, doing that requires punishment? Note that there is nothing they could do that would warrant a spanking, but I am so curious as to what their transgressions could possibly be. I almost always give extra chores with a spanking. For a smaller infraction, she gets no time off in the evening as I want her doing chores until her spanking at bedtime. For a larger infraction, the entire weekend I want to see her working from 8 a.m. to bedtime. This is always in addition to a spanking. She likes to spend Sundays with her friends, so this is a punishment she truly hates, but I tell her it's her choice by her behavior and she only has herself to blame. I feel like every video I've ever made about submission could be applied here. In our home, spanking is the only punishment my husband has ever given me. When it became clear early in our marriage that his lectures were not sufficient on their own, he found that spanking me instead quickly and easily produced the results he was looking for. I'm thankful that he hasn't felt the need to explore alternatives, though perhaps someday he might. That would be his decision, of course, but I know he will be looking for evidence that they were equally effective in accomplishing his goals. Studies show spanking doesn't improve behavior, so mark me down as skeptical that this husband is looking for evidence of effectiveness. There are often follow-up activities that aren't strictly alternatives, because he has already spanked me, but the natural result of the lesson I've learned, such as catching up on the chores I've neglected. This might mean not being able to do something else that I want to do until I have done as I'm told. He doesn't really withhold privileges, aside from providing structure around when and under what circumstances they can be indulged in. That seems like more of a rule than a punishment. Often, I acknowledge my sins and my desire for change by writing in my journal, but I am free to use my own words. Ah yes, such freedom. This helps me to fully process the lesson and serves as a record of my growth under his leadership. Is she talking about her husband or a CEO? Are they having a one-on-one? At least no one at my work spanks me. In the humble opinion of a well-spanked wife, I don't believe that any of those things could serve as an effective punishment on their own, replacing the spanking altogether. I am afraid that I would see them more as an annoyance and that they wouldn't generate the fear. My brain just broke. Why would you want to fear your spouse? Why would you want your spouse to fear you? And that they wouldn't generate the fear necessary to halt a bad decision in its tracks. Maybe it hints at a fundamental flaw in me that I am not more easily led. I want to be a good wife for my husband with my whole heart, and most of the time that is enough. But when I need his help to get back on track, I don't believe that more time spent mopping the floors will give me the motivation I need as reliably as his belt. And the website owner's response, "Thank you for your comment. I believe this will be echoed by many women as a spanky puts her in a submissive spot much more easily than any other punishment among its other benefits. Unless it is impossible for some reason, it makes the best standard punishment. Others could be added to it if they will help. I have always found that a spanking keeps my wife gentle and peaceful more than anything else. Gee, I wonder why. I'm going to guess it's always a sin on the woman's part that necessitates a spanking and not anything the husband is doing or not doing." Editing Kit jumping in to add that someone did ask about the capsaicin cream and somehow things got worse. The website owner responded, "Capsaicin cream is a cream used for arthritis and perhaps other ailments. If you leave it on the skin more than a few minutes, it will cause a burning sensation that will last until at least the next day. It includes some of the substance found in hot peppers." And as if that wasn't bad enough, someone else, a woman who, from the sounds of it, has experience with this cream, chimed in with, "If I may add, capsaicin must not be applied to broken, damaged, or irritated skin. And of course, those sensitive areas. Also, please don't use before or after a hot shower, as the burning intensity is unimaginable. Some lessons could also be taught with stinging nettle. Ouch! Nettle has very fine hairs on leaves and stems inject irritants. It isn't inherently dangerous, unless pregnant, then must avoid as it could cause miscarriages. It does cause immediate, painful, itchy rashes from its fine hairs, injecting irritants into the skin, leading to redness, blisters, and burning. A few minutes of touching one's derriere could lead to hours of discomfort. Gives a whole other meaning to fetching a switch. Fetching nettle than having it stuffed in your panties to sit on for a few minutes. Ouch. Must keep away from all sensitive areas. Overall, nothing like a good old-fashioned, long, hard, bare-bottom spanking as a deterrent to bad behavior. Guaranteed. So basically, this is just a gathering of men and women trying to think of ways to torture women and encouraging each other in this endeavor. So I know a lot of you are thinking, and have probably already commented, that this is a kink. And maybe it is. You know what? I sure hope it is. I sure hope these women are getting a thrill out of being spanked. But it's always been my belief that there is something more to this, and I want to share this post from someone on the singles page. Yes, there's a singles page on this website. Hi, I'm a 35-year-old Scandinavian man looking for a woman to marry. Foreign or domestic, big or small, all messages taken seriously. When I was a little boy, 5 to 6 years old, I once played with a little girl. It was summer. We were in our underwear, playing on the lawn, and for some reason I had a fly swatter in my hand. I remember she said something rude, turned her back to me, and by instinct, I slapped her on the butt with the fly swatter. She squealed and laughed and ran away. I chased, trying to swat her again. Though I can't remember the girl's name or face, I do remember the feeling of correctness in what I was doing. I was supposed to swat her bottom. Before I had developed a sexuality or a moral code, I understood that just like I was supposed to marry a girl someday, I was supposed to swat her bottom when she was bad. The second thing I remember was frustration with her running away. She wasn't supposed to do that. Just like I understood girls were supposed to marry boys, I understood that girls aren't supposed to run away from incoming punishment. I live in a super equal country. I learned from a young age that any sort of dominance of women is chauvinistic and sexist. And so for many years, I thought I was an evil wannabe wife beater. That was until I found a distraction. I truly thought I had found the answer when I stumbled on the BDSM scene. There it was, a place for me to practice, to learn about wielding power and more importantly, taking responsibility. But somewhere between reading a post about how a woman had left her man because he tried to dominate her for real, and my lady friend at the time saying, "I'm not in the mood for a spanking today," I realized it was just a game. Aesthetic without filling, just boys chasing girls with fly swatters. I pretty much decided at that point that I was never going to marry. I wasn't going to find someone who believed in the same stuff as me due to my country's views on equality, and I wasn't going to marry halfway. But then I found a small community online. Truly, this website and a few others like it are a godsend. I thought I was alone. I thought I was broken. I thought I was evil. But it turns out there are others like me out there. Men and women who see what I see, who understand what I understand. The hierarchy and clear definition of roles, not only in marriage but in society, is good, stabilizing, and necessary for those institutions to work properly. Seriously, thank you for all you have done. So here I am, casting a net to see if I can find someone to share the rest of my life with. Someone with whom I can grow and share a loving, proper, and stable marriage. I'm not a rich man, nor am I Prince Charming, but I know who I am. I know my place, duties, privileges, and responsibilities. At the end of the day, what more can you want for? What more can you ask for? I have no idea what they're trying to say. So yeah, I'm sure there are those who get a thrill and probably tell themselves that's of Satan, but there is a big difference between Christian domestic discipline and BDSM. In this, there is no safe word, there is no not in the mood for. It's just flat out punishment for whatever perceived wrong the woman has done. And if she disagrees, too bad. Of course, I'm sure it will surprise none of you that natural women actually desire to be spanked. And please bear with me, someone fancies themselves quite the writer. A brief, word to the women who desire discipline in their marriage. You are a normal woman and your desire is normal. A woman who wants to experience her man's strength, including in discipline, is a natural woman. It's good you want to get spanked. You may be surrounded by friends and peers who think it is wrong, who claim it is aberrant, but it is nothing but a good and natural desire. Being led firmly and spanked by your husband is in harmony with your womanhood, your softness and your yielding, and in a greater sense fulfills a part of your simple humanity. No matter how much your brain has been indoctrinated towards female independence and strength, your mind and heart knows the truth. So the brain has been indoctrinated, but the mind knows the truth. Okay, you love to be soft to your man. You know he should be the Lord of your life. Shouldn't a woman's Lord be God? It's also important to know you're not alone here. You are in good company. No matter what cold night has come down on male leadership in the society, and no matter how commonly it is silenced, people who have traditional homes never simply died out. We are here. There are millions of us. Some of us continue from the previous era, but more privately. Others simply followed their common sense and learned to discipline on their own, despite growing up for years in a feminist society. The public may ban the truth, but the truth never ceases to exist. Countless homes include the man as the unquestioned head, unquestioned, and many also include spanking as a means of correcting a wife. Ladies' bottoms are getting tanned daily. What has gone on in countless societies for thousands of years never died. You are a part of it. I am a part of it. It is in harmony with our natures as men and women. A woman who wants to be spanked is following the better part of her nature. She is responding rightly to her, here we go, femininity. God made her softer, so her husband should hit her? He made her find satisfaction in male strength and in following the man's lead. It is not an affront to her, as feminists would like you to believe, but rather the opposite. It helps her realize her womanly character. In her submission, she feels complete. She also feels safe and protected. Yes, hitting someone definitely makes them feel safe and protected. Even the hard moments of a spanking are offset by the reward of knowing her man's power and his thoughtful concern for her. She loves the deep peace that comes after going through the fire. His instructions, his rules, his firm authority over her bring her what she needs. This should be no surprise. She is the softer sex. So her husband should hit her? What would you expect from a woman? To act like a man? This might be what a very gender-bent Western world would suggest, but it's not what reason and common sense would tell you. Reason would tell you that a woman would desire to act like a woman because that is her design. It fits her purpose. She is not built with as much strength as the male, so her husband should hit her? She is not built with the aggression of the male, so her husband should hit her? She does not have that almost obsessive desire to understand truth with clarity and communicate it with precision, which are such male traits. Rather, she's designed far differently, with a softer body, one that responds to the man in yielding and in sexuality. She is designed with a more nurturing nature, with softer emotions and less aggression. Her grasp of truth is more intuitive, and her feelings lean towards sympathy and understanding more than toward analyzing and defining things. She does not need to act like a man because she is not a man. Following her man, rather, is natural. Letting him lead is natural. It is fulfilling to be led by him, and so is being spanked. Many women also experience the sexual element of being spanked and corrected. Their femininity is set aflame by his guidance on her backside. In fact, it is truly impossible to separate sex from power. Making love always includes force and even controlled violence by the man. What kind of sex are these people having? Spanking his wife also includes such power, and because it is intimate, it is nearly always sexually charged. Spanking her can be like making love to her. Making love can be like violence. There's nothing wrong with that. Spanking is attractive and sexual because man and wife are built for that power exchange. His hardness and her softness, the sparks of their contact. That power exchange can happen in the bedroom or bent over the desk during discipline, but it expresses some of the very same elements and bonds us very in similar ways. The sexual charge of a woman being spanked is, like her deep desire to be led, a natural part of her womanhood. Never be ashamed of feeling that way. It just means you are a natural woman. Well, count me as unnatural then. Remember, the same people who tell you that a man commanding his wife is wrong are the same people who want to make rules over your life and demand you keep them. They slander the man as an abuser if he firmly leads his wife, yet they want every man and woman to be led by the truly countless rules of the state. They're not against rules and punishment. They just desire to be the ones who make them. They affirm the state can force you to obey rules of finance, safety, business, home ownership, travel, transport, import and export, public behavior, even rules of sexual behavior, and if you break any one of them, they want you to get punished. They'd be happy for you to follow what could be commands in the millions, yet they find it unbearable that a wife follow a few simple rules her husband gives her. They are clearly deluded and the biggest hypocrites imaginable. Never think you are in the wrong just because your man makes rules for you and he spanks you. You are not in the wrong. You follow a natural order of authority and rules. Those things are good for the wife, just as they are good for society as a whole, as long as they are reasonable. Authority, structure, rules, and punishments are good and necessary things. So rules are good then? Or are rules only good for women? That is one reason why a woman who longs to be spanked is a normal woman. Because as a human being, she knows there is satisfaction in having order. There is goodness and protection in an authority structure and benevolent rules that help us. She also knows as a human being there is restoration and justice when bad behavior is punished. She rightly understands that her misbehavior has set things in disorder and has disrespected her husband's authority. Punishment puts that right. Punishment restores her. That's part of why she feels such cleansing afterward and such peace. Order is being restored. Her soul is being cleansed of the foul disrespect and rebellion she previously had within her. The right place of her leader and the right respect for law, so we should have respect for law then, is being restored. The spanking is a small, and more intimate and effective, version of civil justice. The social order needs it, and she knows her soul needs it too. It is good and natural to know you deserve a punishment. It is sane and reasonable to see its benefits. A natural woman is unashamed to act like a woman. She doesn't try to fight her nature, but is fulfilled in letting her husband lead her and correct her. She finds fulfillment in the humbling moment of a spanking, even as it hurts. Her softness is restored and peace is restored as a spanking brings her back to her place. So that woman in Amala's clip a few days ago, is this the place she was talking about? She craves the strength of her man and truly appreciates the protection and rest she feels in him. His strength doesn't make her try to rise up against him. Rather, it heats her with desire and the great sexual excitement of being desired by him and being taken powerfully by him in his arms, then in his grip, taken and belonging to him. A natural woman longs for the cleansing that a spanking can bring, even as she cries sometimes in shame at receiving one. She wants the purity restored, rightly, and it is. She knows the order, balance, and harmony produced by authority and submission are a treasure to her home, which she loves, and which she blesses and fills up with life. She is happy in her home, and as a woman, she loves its king. That's a lot of words to say. I want to do BDSM, but I never want someone to be able to say no to me. So now I'm trying to convince women that it's not only biblical, but also something natural for her to want as a woman. Please don't fall for this. If spanking is your thing, have at, but please don't believe you have no right to say no, that your soul will be imperiled if you say no, or that you're not a natural woman if you don't want to be spanked. Men like this website owner just want to control women, and they will do whatever they have to try and convince them that's actually good and natural. Women are adults. They can make their own decisions and lead their own life. They don't need someone else to do it for them, nor do they need someone else to cleanse their soul. Is that not what Jesus came to the earth for? Well, that was a doozy, and that's it for this video, ending Tradmus strong. Thank you so much for watching. Please like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you didn't, subscribe if you found yourself enjoying my content in general and aren't yet subscribed, and let me know what you think below. I would like to give extra thanks to my patrons. My socials, sources, and resources are linked below, and, well, the solstice was on the 21st, so Happy New Year.